Welcome back. This video is about when students resist or complain. Sometimes students may resist an exercise or activity because it exposes a weakness of theirs, such as being a poor reader or a bad public speaker. If this may be the case, teachers can, number one, recognize that a student is resisting from a place of fear. Number two, soothe and support the student rather than discipline them. Number three, acknowledge that the exercise is challenging. For example, that public speaking or reading aloud is hard. In cases such as these, the teacher could say something like this: yes, this can be a challenging exercise. It's actually really common that reading out loud and public speaking are difficult and even scary for students and adults. That's why we give it attention in class. This can make them feel like they're not alone, or they don't feel so embarrassed that they are having difficulty in this area. I actually tell my students, did you know that in a survey of what scares us the most people said death was their second worst fear? Guess what was number one? Students can often figure it out, and they'll call out, public speaking, reading in public? And I say, yes. So I realize what I'm asking you to do may feel absolutely terrifying to you. I do it not to torture you, but to give you a chance to practice in a safe space where I can coach you and prepare you to be a confident reader and a better public speaker. This skill will give you tremendous social power in your other classes and especially at work. This could help you get promoted and even help you earn a raise or a higher salary. After I tell students all of that, and that complete introduction, they are eager to try public speaking and they want the benefits that come with it. The rest is easy. Okay, so back to our list. The fourth way to respond when students resist or complain about an exercise is number 4. Give students a bailout option from potentially sensitive activities. For example, if you're teaching about conflict resolution, rather than forcing them to describe how they overcame a recent difficult conflict in their lives, also give them the option of describing how they witnessed this process being successfully enacted between two other people. Another example is that some students may feel uncomfortable coming up to write on the board because of body image issues, or maybe they lack clean, well-fitting, or fashionable clothes. They may not fear the topic and the discussion or the act of speaking, but they might be terrified to just stand up and walk to the front of the room and be on display. In this case, if a student seems extremely reluctant to come to the board, you could allow them to participate by having them dictate their response to you, and then you can write it on the board for them. Some teachers may avoid this sort of precedent, thinking, oh gosh, other students are going to just try to keep using this since it worked for one of them. They just want to get out of it. But in actual practice, that rarely happens. Most students actually really enjoy coming up to the board because they get a chance to stretch their legs, and they might get some attention from other students. So now we're going to go a little deeper and look at our study guide for this video. I want you to think of a lesson that you taught that generated student resistance. What was the lesson? What in particular do you think that they might have been reluctant to do? Why could this activity have been possibly embarrassing or uncomfortable for them? Put yourself in their shoes and try to imagine the emotion they may have been experiencing, and then describe it. Next, I want you to think of a time you felt embarrassed or uncomfortable when you were a child or a young adult in a classroom. What triggered your negative emotions? Our next question is to try to generate compassion for students who may have different body image, intellectual, social, or emotional challenges than you have ever had to deal with. How would you feel if you had to live with those challenges? Does this help you understand your students? Next, re-envision your lesson with these students and their needs in mind. Is there a way to get them engaged and active without pushing them into a socially awkward or embarrassing moment? Next, brainstorm some ideas. Try the revised activity in class. Speak to their fears before starting the lesson. Let them know you are aware that you're asking them to step into challenging territory. Set the guidelines for the activity to create maximum emotional safety and explain the benefit to them in terms of growth or courage building. Notice how it goes and adjust as needed, or scrap it and redesign it with your new insights in mind. Okay, thanks for listening. That's all for this video.